What comes to your mind when you think of Switzerland? Maybe neutrality, stability, wealth, beautiful landscapes. Well, other countries can be that, right? So today, I'm gonna find the Switzerland of each continent. But first, some ground rules. Switzerland is many things, but what makes it most unique is its non-aligning neutrality. Now, no country is perfectly neutral, obviously, but I mean, it's just a fucking game that I'm doing, alright? None of these criteria are gonna be perfect. The other box is central position. And no, I don't mean like politically central. I mean like in a physical central position on a geographical map in its respective area. And they also got to be a stable nation, alright? No military coups or anything like that. An actual democracy, relatively good economy, stuff like that. So those are my three boxes. Oh, and they also have to be a UN recognized country. I feel like that goes without saying these days, but you never know. So with that all out of the way, let's get started. The Americas, Costa Rica.
Oh, what, you're counting the Americas as all one continent?
Yes. So let's see, well, central position, we can definitely tick that box, since the region it's in literally has the word central in it. The central location has made it a hub for trade and commerce, similar to Switzerland's strategic location in Europe. And I didn't make this one of the requirements, but the high prices are also pretty high compared to the countries around it. Not as high as Swiss prices, but I thought it was worth a mention. For stability, it has relatively free and fair elections, and the transferring of power has been peaceful. The economy for most Central American countries relies on tourism, and that is true for Costa Rica as well, but it has a much more diverse economy than its neighbors, as it hosts a number of branches for tech companies and call centers, as well as producing a lot of medical devices and other minor electronics. It also has an impressively low violent crime rate, which sounds like selective word choice, and that's because it is. Because it does have a high burglary rate. But name me an American country that doesn't have people stealing shit. Now for its neutrality. This one's a pretty easy one to tick, as it has a strong policy of neutrality in international armed conflicts. So much, in fact, that it's actually abolished its military in 1948, making it one of the few UN-recognized nations to not have an acting armed force. Now, for military alliances and stuff like that, well, Costa Rica doesn't have a military, so it has no such alliances of the sort, which makes it a great place for diplomatic discussions. It's hosted international peace talks and conferences like the Organization of American States, or OAS, just like how Switzerland, specifically Geneva, holds the UN conferences. So for all those reasons, I'll declare Costa Rica as the Switzerland of America. Asia, Mongolia. Yes, I know it's the obvious option here, but there's not many countries that are as neutral as Mongolia, at least in terms of Asia, so I feel like I'd be doing it a disservice if I didn't include it here. There is one country that I almost chose, but it didn't transition out of an absolute monarchy until 2008. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about Mongolia. So right off the bat, we can tick the box for neutrality, as Mongolia's constitution explicitly declares the country as a permanent neutral state. And we can tick the box for central location, as, like Switzerland, is a landlocked country, meaning no direct access to the sea, and is in between two of Asia's most fiercest powers, that being Russia and China. Now again, no country is perfect, but it didn't switch over to a democracy until as recently as the Mongolian Revolution of 1990. However, it is generally considered that that was an entirely peaceful revolution. And its economy isn't too impressive. I mean, it's rich in natural minerals, chiefly copper and coal, but other than that, it really isn't that stable. But I mean, come on, what else country could I have picked here? All the other countries with strong economies are way too opinionated to be considered neutral, and that's probably the box that I prioritize the most for this challenge. And as I mentioned earlier, I almost picked another country, and that country was Bhutan. They generally take a neutral stance and are in a central location, being in between China and India, but I couldn't ignore the fact that they were an absolute monarchy until 2008. I mean, I was going into kindergarten when that was going on. And even more wild is the fact that they didn't abolish slavery until 1958. I mean, the United States gets a bad rep for being late to abolish slavery, but 1958? Jeez, Bhutan, what the hell?